Hello everyone, my name is Jeff Neville and welcome to Selective Imagery. I started taking pictures when I was 7 or 8 years old, and I really shoot just about everything. And here's some samples of what I take, whether it be sunrises, alligators, birds. It's what I do a lot of right now. But I also do macro. I'll do small animals, and I'll do street photography, and I'll use my old cameras to take some black and white photos with. So here's a sample of one of my cameras coming up. So I'm a generalist, but right now I'm focused a lot on wildlife and birds in particular. So I hope you enjoy my channel, and let's get right to the show. Welcome to A Friend, Nature, and a Z9. As you know, my friend Tim, aka Mozman, and I took some pictures in North Carolina on my last episode, but he also visited me in Myrtle Beach, where, well, he looked pretty dapper that day. The birds were very impressed and said, "Who is this cool guy with the sunglasses on?" And then he got a little more focused, pun intended, on a certain subject that we saw at Myrtle Beach in Huntington Beach State Park. And it happened to be green herons. And they were all over the place. But there were also some other species, such as the Anhingas, which here had made an interesting nest on a lower branch on this tree. But the green herons basically dominated the airspace that day, and this was on what we call the Straight Road in Huntington Beach State Park, which is actually in Myrtle's Inlet, not Myrtle Beach. Sorry about that. But it wasn't a bad day. Not what Tim expected. I think it was. It's been very disappointing for a lot of people for quite a while now. But we managed to get a few things anyway. Here's a quick video clip of the green heron preening itself early in the morning. I think this was about 7:30, 7:45 a.m. But there were a lot of greenies around, and there are a few nests for them, and one of them I know does have eggs in it at the moment, so it shouldn't be too long before we see some babies. So if I'm able to get some footage of the babies, then that'll be something that hopefully I can share with you within the next 3 weeks to a month. Here's some more still shots of the green herons. This one looks like he was getting prepared for takeoff. Whereas this fella looks like he just spotted a UFO. Pretty funny look. Here this one's looking down at the water. And as you'll see in the next picture, he really thinks he sees something. From the Straight Road, we went on the causeway where Tim was able to see some alligators, starting with a relatively young gator. And it's on this little mound of dirt that normally would be underwater, but with the water levels low on the pond side, it created a little island here that the small gator likes a lot. And then, of course, we walked up to the grassy knoll, which I call Gator Island. That's just me anyway. And he was able to see some of the bigger ones. This one really wanted to get its teeth checked out, but I am not a dentist. I don't work on alligators, sorry. The Anhinga and a red-winged blackbird were perched together. And we go back to a few more gator shots. The larger ones like to lay in the grass. Those that don't rate, well, they hang out around the mound. I like this shot. Decent size one. There are a few other birds. There are great blue heron with a fish. Won't complain about that. There were years though where we used to get the great blue herons getting these giant green eels. I mean, they were huge. They'd wrap around the bills and it would be quite a battle. Now it's pretty much small eels and fish that really aren't too large. Snowy egret walking around. Putting on a little display. Walking along the water's edge. Wood storks looking for food. And normally I don't take pictures of pigeons, but when you have a background like this with the color, pigeon or not, I'm going to take the shot. We then move on to Brookgreen Gardens, where there were some flowers out. Not a lot. It's not the peak of the season by any means. And in this particular plant, I was hoping to find tree frogs because they like to lay on these large blades. But instead, I only found an insect and a little bit of dew that was remaining on one of these leaves. But as I say, you take what you can get. You take advantage of what you see when you see it. You do the best you can. Here I just try to get a grouping of these flowers, not everything in focus, and that's intentional. And then I did a crop and just focused on this one primary one from the previous shot. Here I made the dark ground black and, draw your eyes up to that purple flower at the very top. And there are statues at Brookgreen Gardens. I don't usually take too many pictures of the statues, but this one here we had an interesting shot that I liked with the anteater. And here I met a woman who was doing some painting. She was kind enough to let me take her pictures, which I sent to her. Her name is Nancy Lang, L-A-N-G Miller. You can go to nancylangmiller.etsy.com, and I'm sure you will find some beautiful artwork that you may like to purchase for your home. I like to support other artists. It doesn't have to be just photographers. And she was very nice to me and had some nice work, and I'm sure everyone would love to take a look at it. Now, at this point, these were not with, Tim was not with me on this trip. This was back at the Magnolia Plantation in North Charleston. And this is a baby barred owl with its mom. A series of pictures with the mother, and you can see a little bit of blood on the mouth area of the baby, and there's a little tinge of red, hard to see, on the mom. But there were two younglings. Mom eventually flew off and found her own space in this next shot. And then that particular young one was all by itself for a little while. Now, where was Dad? Well, I found him, relatively close by, but he had dove into a small body of water and he was busy preening himself and cleaning himself up. Couldn't really get a great shot of him. Then we walked to the Audubon area with my friend, met up with a few other people, and we got some great egret shots. So they're nesting, and of course my favorites are the great blue herons. Now they've gotten quite big in this nest. They're not so small anymore. I don't know why the one had its head up in the air like it did, as you'll see in multiple pictures here. You can see its tongue just slightly outside of its lower bill. Eventually it calms down a bit as the one on the left starts to lift its leg up because, well, like everybody else, once in a while you just have to scratch that itch. But this pair were really fun to watch. Their antics, how they were behaving with each other, and eventually they calmed down. Now, this was another nest along the same edge of the water, but farther down. And these are pretty good size as well. Headed back to where the original great blues were, and lower on the tree was an Anhinga with its babies, and the babies are white. They don't look anything like the adults. You can see their heads below the mom there. And we finish up with a very small slider covered with pond scum. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Leave me a thumbs up, a like, and share with your friends. And remember, enjoy life, capture some of it, get out there and get some great images for yourself. And take care.